Hello lovely people, I'm Stella from Stella's Yarn Universe. In this video I show you how to crochet this little mouse. Before we get started, if you'd like to have the PDF pattern for this project, which includes many step-by-step photos of the process, you can find the Etsy and Ravelry links to it in the description box below. And you can also find a link to my Patreon where you gain instant access to the PDF pattern for this little mouse and many of my other recent projects. There should be around 20 uploaded by now. There's also a free written version of this pattern on my website stellasyarnuniverse.com. And now without further ado, let's get into what materials we need to crochet this little mouse. I used Scheepjes Catona for this project, which is a 4-ply or fingering weight yarn, but you could also use DK or light worsted weight yarn. And you need 2 colors, one main color and a secondary color. I wanted to crochet a field mouse, so I opted for this light brown and then this beige as the secondary color. We also need a 2.5mm hook. This is something in between a size C2 or B1. I think most of you will be fine with a C2. And we also need another hook that we only use for part of the legs. So this is a size 0 or A, maybe it's even smaller than an A, 1.75mm. Don't worry if you don't have this exact size. I think a 2mm hook, which I believe is a size A, would work just as well. Then we need 5mm safety eyes, some fiber fill, a yarn needle, pins, and scissors. And this time I'm using many stitch markers, one usual stitch marker for marking the end of the round. And then I have 4 pink stitch markers and 4 blue ones. They are for color coding. So you will need 8 in total, 4 in one color and 4 in another color, so you can differentiate them. And before we get into crocheting, I just want to mention, because I often receive the question how to make the project bigger. You could, of course, upscale the project by using heavier yarn like worsted or Aran yarn, or even chunky, bulky yarn. Then you need to upscale the hook size, of course. So if this were Aran or worsted weight yarn, then I would use a 3.5 size E hook instead, and then a 2.5 for the part of the legs as a smaller hook. So when you choose the right hook size for your yarn, just keep in mind that it should be smaller than what the yarn recommends, because that's the recommendation is usually for garments or accessories and not for amigurumi. But for amigurumi we want really small tight stitches and no gaps through which the fiber fill can show through. So definitely go for a smaller hook than what's recommended. And now let's get crocheting. We start with the legs, and for this we need the lighter secondary color yarn and the smaller hook. So like I said, I'm using a 1.75mm hook, size 0, but a 2mm or size A0, I believe, would work as well. And so we begin with the magic ring. I'm first making the forelegs. So just use your preferred magic ring method. Make a small ring, and then we start with 6 single crochet in the magic ring. Then we close the ring, and in round 2, actually round 2, 3 and 4, in the next 3 rounds we will make 1 single crochet in each of these 6 stitches. So when you crochet the second round, just make sure that your work doesn't bulge inward, like you want to work on the outside. So this is round 2 done, and I'm going to pull the magic ring a bit tighter now. And we have 2 more rounds of 6 single crochet to go. And that's round 3 done. Now with round 4, we want to have our main color yarn ready, because in the last stitch of round 4 we will change color to the main color. And this is the last stitch of round 4, so I'm going to pull the old color yarn through, drop it, and join the new color yarn. So that's round 4 done. Just giving the old color yarn a pull, and we can fasten that off now. We don't need a particularly long yarn end here. And we also change hooks to the 2.5 millimeter or size C, C2. And in round 5, we start with a single crochet. Then we increase in the next stitch. So 2 single crochet in the next. And we repeat this 2 more times. One single crochet and 1 increase. So now our round has 9 stitches, and in the next round we make 1 single crochet in each of them. In the next round we start with 2 single crochet, and then we make an increase. And we repeat this 2 more times again. 2 single crochet, and an increase. So now we have a stitch count of 12 and our foreleg is complete already. Now we finish with a slip stitch in the next stitch. There we go. And then we can fasten off. We don't need a very long yarn end. We will use it later to close a little gap between the legs, but it doesn't need to be very long for that. This should be enough. So now we can repeat all of these steps to crochet the second foreleg. Our 2 forelegs are complete now. And for the hind legs, we repeat rounds 1 to 4 of the forelegs, but we don't change color or hooks in the last stitch of round 4 because we have 1 more round here. And then we prepare ourselves for changing to the main color and to the larger hook size. So 1 more round of 6 single crochet in round 5 of the hind legs. And this is the last stitch, so we pull the old color yarn through and join the new color. And we also change the hooks to the 2.5 millimeter or size C, and we fasten off the old color yarn. So in round 6 we start with 4 single crochet, and then we make 2 increases in a row. So 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and 2 single crochet in the next. So now we have a stitch count of 8. In the next round we start with 4 single crochet again, And then we have 2 decreases in a row. So for the decreases, we single crochet the front loops of the next 2 stitches together. So we go through the front loop of the next stitch here, which is tricky because I made it very tight. Then we pull our hook down to go through the next front loop. Now we have the 2 front loops on our hook, and we pick up the yarn and pull it through both of them. And then we pick up the yarn and pull it through the 2 remaining loops on our hook. And then we have another decrease. So we repeat the same steps with the last 2 stitches of the round. And now we're back to a stitch count of 6. And in the next round we start with 1 single crochet, and then we make an increase in the next stitch, and we repeat this 2 more times. 1 single crochet, 1 increase. So now we have a stitch count of 9. In round 9 we start with 2 single crochet, and then we make 5 increases in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we finish the round with 2 single crochet. So now we have a stitch count of 14. In round 10 we make 1 single crochet in each of the 14 stitches. And that's it. The last round of the hind leg is complete. So we finish with a slip stitch in the first stitch or the next stitch and fasten off. And here as well, we don't need a very long yarn end. This should be enough. So now you can repeat all of these steps to crochet the second hind leg. Next we'll crochet the tail. For this we need the secondary color, and we start with 23 chains. So I'm making a little loop on my hook and chain 23. Now we single crochet in each of these chains, starting at the second chain. So we'll make a single crochet in the second chain from our hook and in each of the following ones. So we'll have 22 single crochet. And the last one. So here we can fasten off and we don't need a long yarn end. And then we can give the tail a little pull so that it doesn't curl too much. And that's the tail done. So we can set this aside for later. In the written pattern, the next step is marking the stitches of the legs. But for the video, I first want to crochet the first 2 rounds of the belly so that it can better explain to you how the legs will be attached. So for this, we need our secondary color yarn and the 2.5 millimeter hook. I should have mentioned this before. We only use the 2.5 millimeter size C2 hook from now on. The smaller hook was just for the first part of the legs, so we won't need that smaller hook anymore. So for the belly, we start with a chain of 7. So once again, I make a little loop on my hook and chain 7. Then in the second chain here, I make an increase. Then we'll make single crochet in the next 4 chains. Now in this last chain, we will make 4 single crochet. I'm making 2 single crochet from this side. And then I'll turn it and still crochet in the same chain, but from the other side. That's 3 and 4. Now we'll crochet in the other side of the chains. So we'll make 4 single crochet in each 1, 2, 3, 4. So exactly opposite the existing 4 single crochet. And then we finish the round with an increase here in the other side of this first chain we crocheted in, opposite of the existing increase there. And now we have a round of 16 stitches. I'll use my stitch marker to mark the last stitch of the round. And in round 2, we start with an increase, with 2 increases actually. And that's 1 increase. And another increase. Then we single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then we'll make 4 increases in a row. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll make 4 single crochet. And we'll finish with 2 increases. One increase and 1 in the last stitch. So here I'll pull my yarn out a bit so I won't lose my stitch while I mark the stitches on the legs. So let me put this here for now. So now we need our legs and our 8 stitch markers. 4 in each color. And so we're going to attach the legs a little differently than what you might be used to from my tutorials. So we'll first crochet on the inside of the legs like this and this, and then in the next round we'll crochet around the outside of the legs, if that makes sense. So to not get confused, we'll mark the stitches of the legs first. And so for the left legs, I'm using pink stitch markers and marking the innermost, the 6 innermost stitches of the leg. So for the hind legs, you can see they somehow point, or quite clearly point in one direction, and that should point forward. So the stitch marker marks the back of the belly, so we want to attach them in this direction. And so if this is the left hind leg, that means that this here is the inside of the leg and this is the outside. So we want to find the 6 stitches that are here on the inside. So I'm just going to count from this last stitch here, which was the slip stitch we made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think we can go 1 forward. So we're marking the stitches next to the 6 stitches, so that we can easily crochet into the 6 stitches in the next round. I'm not sure if the placement will be the same for you. It depends on your tension when you crochet, which might be different from mine. But for me, it makes sense to place the first stitch marker in the slip stitch here, the last stitch that we finished the hind leg with. And then from the next stitch I count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the 6 stitches on the inside, and in the 7th I place my other pink stitch marker. So again, from the first free stitch next to the stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the 7th goes the other stitch marker. So now we know that this is the left hind leg, so we know to start with this one and to crochet in these stitches, not in these on the other side. Although it actually doesn't make a difference with the hind legs because they're 14 stitches, so there's 6 on each side now. But it just helps me to stay clear and organized. So then we'll move on to the one of the forelegs, the left foreleg. So for this, it's not really as clear where the leg points. I always look at the end of the round as the back of the leg, so that's how I'm treating it. And so we want to attach it in this way because it's the left foreleg. And so here we want to find the 4 stitches that are on the inside, so on this side of the leg. And so I'm using my pink stitch markers again to mark that this is a left leg and try to figure out which stitches to mark. So for this, for me it's not the slip stitch, it's the stitch in front of the slip stitch. It's the first marked stitch. Then I'll count the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the stitches on the inside, and in the 5th one I'll place my other stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'll know where to crochet this leg on. And then we'll move on to the right foreleg. So this one is going to be attached on the other side, which means that this here will be the inside. If we we treat the back, the last stitch of the round as the back. So this here will be the inside stitches. So I'm placing my blue stitch marker in the slip stitch, the last stitch of the round. Again, this might be different for you. Also be careful not to confuse an extra stitch in. So this is the stitch under the slip stitch, so this one doesn't count now when we count to 4. This one is the first one that counts, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the 5th one here, I'll place my other blue stitch marker. So this is now the right foreleg. And now we have the right hind leg. So here again it's easy to see which way the leg points. And so this is going to be the inside of the leg. So 1, 2, 3. Here again it's kind of straightforward. I'll just place it in the slip stitch again. Because it marks the back of the leg for me. Again, might be different for you. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 7th stitch, I'll place my other stitch marker. So now I'll know to crochet in these 6 stitches when attaching the right hind leg. So I put my legs in the right order: left hind leg, left foreleg, right hind leg. And here we have the belly. So just to explain to you before, we start with 1 single crochet here in the back, then the next 6 stitches up to here will be crocheted together with the left hind leg, then the next 4 stitches will be crocheted together with the left foreleg, then we have 2 stitches crocheted in the belly, and in the next 4 stitches we crochet together with the right foreleg, and then the next 6 stitches together with the right hind leg, and then we'll have 1 stitch left which we will crochet in the belly. So let's do this together now. We start with 1 single crochet in the belly, and now we join the first hind leg, the left one here. And so this here are the inner stitches, and we go through the first of the 6 stitches, and then through the next stitch on the belly, which is this one here. So now we have both stitches on our hook, the first of the 6 inner stitches of the left hind leg and the next stitch of the belly, and we'll crochet them together, single crochet them together, and then we'll crochet together the next 5 stitches. So we insert our hook in the next stitch on the leg and the next stitch on the body, and single crochet them together, and we repeat this 4 more times through the leg and the belly, and single crochet. So the stitches should line up nicely, so you see which ones belong together. Two more to go. And that's the left hind leg crocheted on, so we can remove these stitch markers now. Pull the yarn tight if necessary. And now we'll move straight into crocheting on the left foreleg. So these are the 4 stitches that we'll crochet together with the belly. So we'll go through the first one with our hook, and then we'll go through the next stitch of the belly, which is this one here. If the stitch markers are in the way, you can remove them already. I mean, now we know what to do once the first stitch is on. And so we single crochet these 2 stitches together, and then we repeat this with the next 3 stitches. So we go through the next stitch of the leg and the next stitch of the belly, and single crochet, and again, and one more time. So now the left foreleg is crocheted on, at least from the inside. You can remove the stitch marker. So this is how it looks so far. This is how it looks from the bottom. So you can double check, making sure the legs point in the right direction. Our next single crochet go in the belly. So 2 single crochet. They should be in the front where the chest is going to be, or the neck, or whatever lies in between. So now we'll crochet on the right foreleg. And so we will crochet these 4 stitches on. So we go through the first one, and then through the next stitch on the belly, this one here. And single crochet them together, and then we repeat this 3 more times, going through the leg and the belly, 2 more times, and once more. Be careful to only crochet in each stitch of the belly once. I accidentally crocheted in one stitch twice, so then our stitch count won't add up. So that's all 4 single crochet of the right foreleg done. Now we'll crochet on the right hind leg. So the leg should be pointing in this direction, and we'll crochet on these 6 stitches. So we'll go through the first one on the leg and through the next one on the belly. That's 1, going through the next 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we can remove the stitch markers, and we should have 1 stitch left in the round. And here we change color to the main color. So we single crochet in the last stitch here in the belly, pull the old color yarn through, drop it, and pull through the new color yarn, the main color. And so this is round 3 done. So now the inside, or the legs, are crocheted on the inside. In the next round we'll crochet all around them to completely crochet on the legs. We have lots of yarn ends going on here, but I find it easier to hide them later. For now, we'll fasten off the secondary color yarn that we just used to crochet the legs on. And I won't use my stitch marker now because the color change marks the end of the round for now. So round 4 starts with an increase in the first stitch here. The next stitch goes in the leg, so here we should be careful not to crochet in the belly again because we already crocheted this stitch together with the leg. So the next stitch goes here in the leg. For me it's this slip stitch here where it goes in. So we make 7 single crochet in the outer stitches of the legs, and I'm starting with the slip stitch. So after crocheting in the slip stitch, we need to pull that end tight a bit, and then I'll have 6 more single crochet. So when you crochet in the slip stitch, be careful not to crochet in the stitch under it again. So this one's done, this one is the next one. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we should have 1 stitch on the hind leg left, this one here. So in there we make an increase. And then we move on to the foreleg. So in the first stitch, first remaining or unworked stitch of the foreleg, we make an increase. So for me it's this one. So we make 2 single crochet in there. And then 1 single crochet in each of the remaining 7 stitches of the foreleg. So the next one is the slip stitch for me. And I pull it tight and out of the way. That's, oops. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then we have 2 stitches in the belly or the chest here, 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, and 7 single crochet in the unworked stitches of the other foreleg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we have 1 stitch left on the foreleg, and then that will make an increase. So 2 single crochet in there. For me that's the slip stitch. So I'm going to pull that yarn in tight now. Then we'll make an increase in the next stitch of the other hind leg here, this one. And 7 single crochet in the remaining stitches of the right hind leg. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we finished the round with an increase in the last stitch, this one here, this last beige stitch or secondary color stitch. So now we have a stitch count of 42. Round 5 starts with 2 increases. 1, and 2, and then we have 38 single crochet. So you can pause the video here and hit play once you've made those 38 single crochet all around. Now we should have 2 stitches left in the round, and we'll make 1 increase in each of them. So now our round has 46 stitches, and in the next round we'll make 1 single crochet in each of them. So once again, you can pause the video and hit play once you completed this round. Round 6 is done now, and I secured my last stitch because now is a good time to sort out all those yarn ends. So most of them can be used for stuffing the legs. They don't need to be stuffed a lot, but I will partly stuff them with the ends. I'm using the ends that are closest to those gaps that you can see here between the fore and front leg. I will keep those for closing the gaps. So on this side, I could use this one here, and the rest I'll try to hide. You already know how much I love using these little tweezers here. If you make lots of small amigurumi, I highly recommend investing in one of those. So I'll just fill mainly the upper part of the legs. We don't want the lower part to become too bulky. That's why we use the smaller hook for this part, so that they stay small. And so you can pause the video again and fill the legs in this way, and then hit play to close these little gaps here together. Most of the yarn ends are hidden now, and next we'll close these little gaps here that you can see. So I'm threading this yarn end that's close to it on a yarn needle, and then we can just make a few little stitches. Just whip stitches going through here, just picking up 1 loop on each side of the gap. And that's closed already. Now we just need to weave this yarn end in. I'll just do that here on the inside of the amigurumi, just to secure the stitches we just made. So my yarn needle is a little big for this.
You can also weave it in the usual way. I just thought this method secures the end better. Now I'll just make a few stitches in the other direction, and that should be enough. And I'll just leave these remaining yarn ends. They will be hidden inside later on. And now I repeat all of this on the other side here to close this other gap.
In the next round, we will crochet the tail on. So we'll need that. And we'll also crochet an opening for the neck. And for this, we need to find the 8 stitches that are in the center front. And so the way I like to count them is I just find the center front and then count 4 stitches to each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this time I'll place the stitch marker in the 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that I can crochet in the stitch in front of it. And now, including this marked stitch, I count to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the 8th stitch, I'll place another stitch marker. So that looks quite centered to me. So keep it that way. And so first, we'll make a single crochet together with the base of the tail. And so we'll pick our loop back up, and then we take the tail, making sure that the right side is facing up. So this is how the right side looks. This is the wrong side. With the right side facing up, we go through the base of the tail. So through this part here. And then we will crochet, make the first single crochet. So I'll just place this yarn in there. And now I'll insert my hook in the first stitch here. So now it's in the base of the tail and the first stitch, and here I make a single crochet, and that's the tail attached. So make sure this yarn end also goes to the inside, and then I'll crochet in the next 18 stitches. That's how many stitches I have until I reach this stitch marker. It's probably going to be the same for you. So we'll go ahead and do that first. 18 single crochet. So before crocheting the neck opening, I'll secure the tail by making a double knot with these two tail yarn ends here. And that's it. Now back to the neck opening. So here we make 4 chains, and then we'll skip these 8 center front stitches. So the next stitch we crochet in is this one here. And then we'll just single crochet in all 19 remaining stitches. So this is 2, and 19. So now we have a stitch count of 46. And we can remove the stitch markers here. And this is our neck opening here. In round 8, we'll start with 1 single crochet, and then we make a decrease. And then we have 4 single crochet, and then we repeat the decrease and 4 single crochet 2 more times. Decrease and 4 single crochet. And again, decrease and 4 single crochet. Now we'll crochet in each of the 4 chains. So we'll just pick up the back loop of each chain because we want the front loops open to later crochet the neck out of. So here we make 1 single crochet in each chain. And 4, then we have 4 single crochet, and a decrease, and we repeat this 2 more times, 4 single crochet, and a decrease. 4 single crochet, and a decrease, and we finish with 1 single crochet in the last stitch. So now we have a stitch count of 36. In round 9 we'll start with 2 single crochet, then we make a decrease, and 4 single crochet, and we repeat the decrease and 4 single crochet 4 more times, 5 times together. Then we'll make 1 more decrease, and single crochet in the 2 remaining stitches of the round. So now we have a stitch count of 30. In the next round we start with a decrease, and then we make 3 single crochet. And we repeat this 5 more times, 1 decrease and 3 single crochet. That's the round done. Now we have a stitch count of 24, and in the next round we start with 1 single crochet, and then we make a decrease and 2 single crochet, and we repeat the decrease and 2 single crochet 4 more times. And then we'll make one more decrease and single crochet in the last stitch. And I'll secure my last stitch here because now is a good time to fill the body with fiber fill. We can still add more later through the neck opening, but I think it's good to add most of it now, just to make sure everything's in shape. And we want to make sure everything is nicely filled, so I'll add quite a bit. And once you don't feel any more hollow gaps, in the next round we start with a decrease, and then we make 3 single crochet. And we repeat this 5 more times, 1 decrease and 3 single crochet. That's the round done. Now we have a stitch count of 24, and in the next round we start with 1 single crochet, and then we make a decrease and 2 single crochet, and we repeat the decrease and 2 single crochet 4 more times. And then we'll make 1 more decrease and single crochet in the last stitch. And I'll secure my last stitch here because now is a good time to fill the body with fiber fill. We can still add more later through the neck opening, but I think it's good to add most of it now, just to make sure everything's in shape. And we want to make sure everything is nicely filled, so I'll add quite a bit. And once you don't feel any more hollow gaps, you can continue crocheting. Round 12 starts with a single crochet, and then we make a decrease, and we repeat this 5 more times. One single crochet, and 1 decrease. So now we have a stitch count of 12, and in the last round we'll make 6 decreases in a row. That's it already. I wasn't sure. So here we can fasten off. And now we'll close the round. So now we thread the yarn end on our yarn needle and go through the front loops of all 6 stitches. Then we can close the round, pull it tight. Be careful if you're using acrylic yarn or wool or anything other than cotton. And then we'll go through the center of the last round here, stitch through to one of the main color spots here, lower on the body, where we can weave in the yarn end. Then we cut this short, and that's the legs done, the body and the tail. So next we'll crochet the neck. For the neck we'll use the main color yarn, and we join the yarn in this stitch here, the stitch next to the first skipped stitch that already has a single crochet in it. So we go through here, and then pick up a loop, pull it through. Then I'll just hold this end in place while crocheting in these 8 skipped stitches. So we make 8 single crochet, 1 in each. Just trying not to weave in the fiber fill.
That's 8. Now the next single crochet goes in the stitch next to the last skipped stitch that we just crocheted in, and this one also already has a single crochet in it, so we'll make one more single crochet in there, and then we turn everything, and the next 4 single crochet go in the other side of the chains that we made here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one goes through this loop here, if yours is tricky to crochet in as well, you can loosen it up with a yarn needle before. That's it. So 1 single crochet in each of these chains. That's 4 single crochet, and our last single crochet goes in this stitch here where we first joined the yarn. So the round has 14 single crochet now, and our neck is complete. We just finished with a slip stitch in the next stitch, and then we fasten off, leaving a long yarn end. And this one you really want to be long, I would say 40 centimeters just to be sure, 16 inches, because we'll use it to sew the head on. And now we can hide this yarn end inside, and we can also add more fiber fill and make sure that we also fill this chest neck part here with enough fiber fill so that the head can rest on a flat surface here. Now that's done. So next we'll crochet the head, and for this we start with the secondary or lighter color. So we make a magic ring again, and we start with 6 single crochet in the magic ring, and in the last of the 6 single crochet we'll change to the main color. So this is number 6. And then we close the magic ring and continue with the main color. So we fasten off the old color, and now in round 2 we start with an increase. Then we single crochet in the next stitch, and then we make an increase again, and a single crochet and an increase, and we finish with a single crochet. Just putting the magic ring a bit more tight now. And in round 3 we start
with 2 single crochet. And then we make an increase. And once again, we repeat this 2 more times. 2 single crochet. And an increase. Once more. And now we have a stitch count of 12. And in the next 2 rounds, we'll single crochet 1 in each of these 12 stitches. So you can pause the video here and hit play once the next 2 rounds are complete. The 2 rounds of 12 single crochet are done now. So the next round is round 6. And in round 6, we start with 3 single crochet. And then we make an increase. And we repeat this 2 more times. So now we have a stitch count of 15. In round 7, we start with 2 single crochet. And then we make an increase. Then we have 4 single crochet. And an increase. And 4 single crochet. And an increase. And then we'll single crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. So now we have a stitch count of 18. In the next round, we'll start with 5 single crochet. And then we'll make an increase. And we repeat this 2 more times. Now we have a stitch count of 21, and in the next 2 rounds we'll make 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you can pause the video here and hit play once you've done that. The 2 rounds of 21 single crochet are complete, and now is a good time to insert the safety eyes. So I secured my last stitch. I already marked 2 spots here, so this light round is round number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one could go here. I just make a little gap because I crochet very tightly, so it's a bit tricky to get the safety eyes in sometimes. And then about 5 stitches space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here could go the other one. When the safety eyes are secured, it's a good time to fill the nose with fiber fill or yarn ends. First, stuffing these yarn ends in. So for this, these pliers come in really handy again, because we want to make sure that the nose is filled nicely first. And then I'm going to add small portions of fiber fill everywhere around those backs of the safety eyes, to make sure we get a nice head shape for the mouse. So everything should firmly be stuffed. When the safety eyes are secured, it's a good time to fill the nose with fiber fill or yarn ends. First, stuffing these yarn ends in. So for this, these pliers come in really handy again, because we want to make sure that the nose is filled nicely first. And then I'm going to add small portions of fiber fill everywhere around those backs of the safety eyes, to make sure we get a nice head shape for the mouse. So everything should firmly be stuffed. That should be enough for now. The rest of the head should be easy to fill, so we can first continue crocheting. And in the next round we start with 5 single crochet. And then we make a decrease. And we repeat this 2 more times. And now we're down to 18 stitches. In the next round we start with 2 single crochet, and then we make a decrease, then we make 4 single crochet, and a decrease, and 4 single crochet, and a decrease, and 2 single crochet. Now we have 15 stitches, and it's a good time to fill the head with some more fiber fill. We should be able to do the rest after the next round. So the next round starts with 3 single crochet, and then we make a decrease. And we repeat this 2 more times. So that's the round done. And now is the last chance to get more fiber fill in, so I definitely need more because we want the head to be firmly filled. That looks good. So now we only have 1 round to go, in which we'll make 6 decreases in a row. And that's the last round done. So here we can fasten off. So again, we thread the yarn end on our needle, and then we insert it in the front loops of all 6 stitches. Go through them, I mean. Then we close the round by pulling it tight, and again be careful if you're using acrylic yarn or a wool or some kind of blend. Then we go through the center of the last round and somewhere here on the bottom side of the head, just pull this closed so we get a flat back of the head, and then we'll weave in the yarn end. And cut the yarn end short. The head is done now, but of course it still needs ears, and for those we use the main color yarn and we make a magic ring. Again, we use the 2.5 millimeter hook, C2. Oops. And we make 6 single crochet in the magic ring. Close the round, and in round 2 we'll make 6 increases. And that's the last one. I'll just close the magic ring more tightly, and that's it already. So all that's left is a slip stitch in the first stitch, and then we fasten off. Let me do that again because I split the yarn. Then we fasten off, leaving a long enough yarn end for sewing. It doesn't need to be very long. And here at the end of the round, that's going to be the base of the ear. So here we're going to pinch it together. So we'll sew it on in a pinched position. But first we need to make another one. The ears are done now, and we'll sew them on rounds 11 and 12 of the head. So the round behind the ears was round 7, so 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to put them somewhere here. So when you look at the head from the front, it's going to be behind the eye. So there will be around 6 stitches space in between the ears. Let's see how that works out. So I'll just look at it from all sides. And if you're happy with the placement, you can start sewing. So I'll use one of these yarn ends first. I'll use both, but the one I just cut and left longer, I'll start with. So now I'll just pick up a small loop here, going through the head. So I can remove the pin. And then I just want to make sure that I go through both layers of the ear because I want the ears to be pinched at the base. So I'm going through this stitch from the back. And then through the next stitch at the base from the front. Pull it nice and tight. And again through the same spot on the head just to attach it more firmly. And I'll just repeat all of these stitches. Now I'll pick up the loop on the head that's a little bit, yeah, kind of right in front of the ear. Oops. And now I go through both base stitches of the ear again. And then I'll go ahead and weave this yarn end in somewhere here on the bottom of the bottom side of the head. Now I'll also weave in the other yarn end to further secure the ear. And then I'll repeat all of these steps with the other ear. The ears are sewn on, and so all that's left to do is sew the head on. And so here you can completely choose how, at what angle you want it to sit. I made it in a way that the mouse can sit, so if it wants to look up, you could sew it on in this way. So let's see. This is what I did with the other one. So something like this. You can put in some pins and have a look and see how you like it. And also make sure that it's in the right position from all angles, both sides, front, back. And once you're happy, you can thread the long yarn end on your yarn needle. And now we'll sew the head on all around. So I want to make the neck opening as wide as possible, if you know what I mean. So I don't want the neck to appear very narrow. So especially here in the back, I'll try to choose stitches that are high up, if you know what I mean. So we can stretch the neck as much as possible. So I'll pick up a loop on the head here. And then I'll go through the next stitch on the neck from the outside in. And through the head again. Making a small stitch. Once in a while, I just check to make sure everything's looking good. The sun is out and it's raining. Lovely rainbow weather. So now I'm at the part that I mentioned, so I'm going through the next stitch and I'm trying to go through the head quite high up here. And through the next stitch, and again going through a stitch on the head on the same level. So now the neck is pulled up. Making sure we go through each stitch at least once. And that's it already. Now all that's left to do is weave in the yarn end. Give it a little squeeze. This one's got quite a curly tail, but that's okay. So that's our little mouse complete. Thank you so much for crocheting along with me. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up for me and share it with anyone who you think might enjoy it as well. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future crochet tutorials. Also, I have an acorn tutorial if you want to make a little acorn for this mouse, so I'll link that here somewhere. And once again, thank you so much for crocheting with me. See you in the next one. Bye.